This week we set up a special screening of In the Loop for the man everyone believes Malcolm Tucker is based on, Alastair Campbell. So, Alastair, I get the feeling that I laughed more than you did. What did you think?
I found it a lot less funny than I thought I was going to.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think, I mean, I've seen a few of the episodes of The Thick of It, and some of them are funny. I didn't find that terribly funny. I think it was like, it's like the difference between a really good cartoon and a really good painting. It was a cartoon. No, there was one line I really, really liked where the guy said, I'm not going to read you the write-up, but I am going to read extracts. I don't know why, but I really liked that as a piece of one-line writing. I liked that. And there were a few like that. There were.
There was a lot like that.
No, there were a few like that. I thought it was both most real and funniest when it kind of stepped a little bit out of the politics, and it was Toby and his relationship.
What you picked out as the bits that you enjoyed were the bits that actually have nothing to do with the political stuff and that you're kind of out of. The bits that they would presumably say, well, of course he's able to enjoy those bits, because those aren't the bits in which we're having a go at him and his legacy.
You're assuming that I watch that and see it like this is kind of a portrayal of the government in which I worked, and I don't really.
No, I don't.
It's like watching a very, very long cartoon. And the best cartoons are quite short.
Do you think there's any sense that you might not have found some of it funny because you found it uncomfortable?
No, I didn't find it uncomfortable. I mean, I think if you're going to do a film like that, there's got to be something in there that you can say, well, actually, yeah, that might have happened.
Yeah.
And there's very little in there where you can say that might have happened. I mean, just to give you a few examples. I mean, the Tucker and all the swearing and the rest of it, I can swear as well as anybody,
okay,
and I do swear a lot, but you're not going to go into the White House and start going up to complete strangers and effing and blinding and all the rest of it.
Do you see yourself or people you know in those characters?
No, not really, no. I mean, I see... If you do I see in somebody like Tucker somebody who's got the same kind of drive and determination that I had to try to get things organised the way you want to organise them? Yes.
Okay.
But beyond that, what there isn't in any of those characters is a kind of belief system. In my experience, most people who go into it, they kind of believe something. They have a strong set of beliefs that takes them in the first place. Do they have to manage the media? Yes, they do. Do they have sometimes bad days when the minister's not on form? Yes, they do. But are they all a bunch of venal, self-serving, unprincipled shits? No, they're not.
How do you feel about the fact that the character, which is, you know, a cipher of you in that film, effectively leads the country into what appears to be an unjust war?
But, you know, it's... if you want to talk about the war, we can talk about the war.
No, I want to talk about the film's portrayal of the war, because I do think, in the way it's portrayed in the film, it's utterly flippant.
You're asking me, in a way, to take it more seriously than I think I should, because...
Yes, I am, yeah.
Right, well, but I don't take it that seriously. That film is trying to portray a very narrow, in my view, pretty lazy view of politics, and it doesn't do it as well as it did in The Thick of It.
I have a great sympathy for anything which portrays politics as essentially venal and crass, because I think that to a great extent it is.
Yeah,
and I think that that's your legacy, which is why I want to know whether or not it upsets you to think that that would be taken as your legacy.
No, it upsets me to think that somebody who seems to be quite an intelligent bloke like you would think that politics is venal and crass, when I could sit down and explain to you how politics has delivered most of the great things that have happened in the world in its history. And if people like you just go round the place as you do, spreading that message that politics is venal and politics is crass, the only people who are really great are the kind of creators who go into the arts and make movies and all the rest, and carry on spreading that worldview, then don't be surprised if young people then start to say, well, you know, why should we give a shit about the world? And I actually think that you guys, with the attitudes you have to face up sometimes to your own responsibilities about the impact that has upon the way that the world works. So scepticism's great, but the view you've just expressed to me is cynicism.
But do you?
And it's you know, it's just so lazy, it's so easy, and you should know better.
But do you understand why it would be that somebody would get that impression of British politics?
Only if they consumed, totally believed and took as their total consumption of British politics what they get from sections of the British media. The media is obsessed with itself. They are never happier than when talking about themselves. They are never happier than when standing outside Downing Street saying, I've just been at a briefing and I was told this, and da-da-da, because they're talking about themselves. It doesn't matter that much. And so, and when you sort of say that, you point to the screen and say, that's your legacy, it's more complicated than that.
Have you ever had two phones at the same time?
Yes.
So that is true?
Oh, yeah, but you probably have.
No, never.
You've never had two
Never.
phones? I don't believe that. Have you never done the thing where you put two people onto each other like that? You've never done that either?
No.
I've done that.
Yeah, OK.
In the Loop is often very funny, but its subject matter is bound to open up old wounds between the media and the political establishment. But Alastair Campbell continues to protest that he's more spinned against than spinning.
Politics, it's harder than what you do, it's harder than what they do, and I actually think sometimes the political class doesn't do a good enough job of standing up for itself. So what I won't do is go around and say to you, yeah, let's meet halfway on this.
Sure.
You know, we're all as bad as each other.
Alastair Campbell, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
So, Mark, I think he had a point there. I mean, I've always said my job beats working for a living. What did you think of the film?
I think it's funnier than he thinks it is. I mean, I did enjoy it more than he did. Although I think it's uneven. I think it's much more at home when it's dealing with the UK politics. I think when he goes to America, it gets a little bit lost. And I thought it overstretched itself a little bit.
Okay.